Welcome back to another Pokemon What If Wednesday, where every Wednesday morning we go through last week's investing and collecting questions, where your guys' questions will actually be featured in the video, and one person's question will help me make the thumbnail every single week. So please drop your questions down below for a chance to be in next week's video, and if I did comment to you saying great question, I might use this and I didn't, please drop that same question and put repeat question, it'll get moved to the top. And I'm not saying I'm some guru who just knows everything, but when I'm unsure, I always like to talk it out with a few people. It always helps me make my final decision. And I do have to announce the winner from last week's giveaway, and it is at Zach Overly5450. So just shoot me an email or hit me up on Instagram. I'll get those cards sent out to you. And we are going to start doing giveaways now for every single Throwback Thursday. And then, of course, our Sunday videos, which we've been doing giveaways on for over a year now. And we are still going to be doing the question of the day. I had the best question of the day in my last Market Monday. Please just go back and watch it and listen for the question of the day. And let me know down below. I've been having a blast reading all of them. I even put my answer down below in yesterday's video for the question of the day. I'm going to start doing that for all of these. So for today's question, if you guys could come up with a new type and they commissioned you to create the very first Pokemon with that new type, what would the type be and what Pokemon would you guys create? I am so excited to read this one. And we do have to give a big thanks to our video sponsor real quick, and that is Collectr. This app is the best of the best when it comes to tracking your collection. No other app even compares. I have actually tried all of them. They literally have about 30 different TCGs with 2 million products tracked. Their website is also super, super good too. I've been using it a ton more. And they also do more giveaways than anyone in this entire hobby. And they're always trying to improve also. So let us know down below if there's anything they can add or fix or work on, anything like that. And they'll get going on that immediately. So definitely check them out and follow them on all their socials to have a chance of winning some of their giveaways. And of course, if you're going to grade through PSA for your first time, you can click my link in the description, use code BEARD25, and you receive $25 off your very first submission, which is basically a free graded card. And I highly recommend doing it yourself. It's very easy instead of paying someone extra to do it or trusting people like GameStop to do it. But all right, first question is from Matt, 2 shots. Hey, PokeBeard, I have a question on what you think might be a better hold for the long run. Of course, everyone knows Prismatic is a great set to hold long term. But do you think the Prismatic Premium Figure Collection will be a better hold than the ETB? I feel like the Figure Collection could do better just because I don't think it will be printed as much as the ETB, and it has 2 pretty decent promos with 2 more packs. I know the retail prices are a bit different because of that, but what do you think? So I do think that box has a very good chance of outperforming the ETB. There's a lot going for it. The figure is actually pretty cool. I do enjoy both of the promos. They're definitely some of the better promos we've gotten. Of course, not as good as like an illustration rare, but better than, most of our EX promos and stuff. And, you get the pin and the sleeves. All of that is going to hold value for sure. And you do get 2 more booster packs. So if you can find this for a good deal, I would definitely pick up a few for sure. It's literally like the same exact price as the actual ETB, a couple dollars more. But the one thing that's bad about these big figure collections is they take up a lot of storage. They get damaged pretty easily, especially like the inside parts and stuff. This one doesn't have a ton of like extra flaps in it, but when they got like the extra cardboard that makes like a little, picture of a Pokemon or whatever, those constantly get damaged if you're trying to get a decent amount of them. But if you have the space for sure, where you don't have to move them around constantly, I think this is going to be a great pickup. Let's see what the high was for this. This was selling for $240 at one time. That is crazy. And then, dropped right down to about 118 is its low, which is when they first, hit the shelves. But yeah, not too bad. I'm definitely going to pick up a few of these when I'm like vending, when I can get them for a pretty decent deal. Because I only have 1 so far, but I'd like to get maybe at least like 4 of them, at least, minimum. Like if you compare this to Blooming Waters, I know Blooming Waters is 151, it has more packs, but the figures, the sleeves, the pin, those are very nice things, and the promos are so much better than what you get for like something like Blooming Waters. So this is definitely a very good figure collection box. All right, next is from at Z Typhoid. What are the cases you use at your shows? They look awesome. So they are the Zion display cases, but just so they are expensive and they do scratch super easy. So if you're going to get them, definitely be super, super careful with the tops. I was even, careful with them because I knew how bad they scratch, and mine are still super scratched up. They do sell a little bag now, but the bag is also like $100 and it's sold out. So maybe if you can come up with an idea to where you can kind of wrap these up after each show, maybe do that, but it just sucks because they get so scratched so easily. And you can, buy just the plastic again, which I'll have to do eventually. but I don't want to be doing that, you know, every single year. So if you do get them, just be extra careful with the tops. They are great. I love how you don't have to sit and lift your case up constantly. And they have the side protectors, so you don't have to worry about people like sneaking a hand in and stealing stuff. So, you know, if you're busy and you're vending, this is so much better. You're going to save a lot of time. It's just going to be a lot easier. And of course, I got all mine, and then they started to add new colors. I would have got red. My favorite color is red, so that kind of sucks. All right, next question is from Thomas VMAX. Hey, Beard, what do you think of the Riolu Pokemon Center Stand promo gem rate so far? It is around 5 to 10% at the minimum, and usually I just expect that because not many have been graded, but the non-stamp one has 20 to 25%. So I'm a big fan of that card, both non-Pokemon Center and regular. I don't know why TCG player can't get a picture of this card. It's the same card with just a stamp. But the regular promo raw is about $5, and the Pokemon Center one, market price is $54. Let's see if we have any super low sales. So 48. Looks like we can get it shipped right now for $45. That's not terrible. Pretty popular Pokemon. Yeah, whenever we get an actually super cool card, like a beautiful illustration rare of a pretty popular Pokemon, and it is also super tough to grade, I am all in. For sure. Next is from Anthony Scalia with graded cards correcting. What are your thoughts on the already decently priced VSTAR Universe God Pack Pikachu? Any other slabs popping out as something to be picked up and held? So I'm actually a big fan of this card. If you guys did not know, you can only pull this card in a Japanese God Pack, which is just crazy to really think about. The pop is still pretty high though, 15,000 in a 10, 2,500 in a 9, which is actually kind of crazy to think about. Looks like the high for the last 6 months was $350, and it got down to $200. Now last sold $334, $300, $339, $275. So, you know, definitely going back up in price a little bit. But like I said, I mean, just having to be able to pull this card in a God Pack to even get it is pretty crazy. And that's why it's one of the most expensive cards in the set. When our Pikachu of this is, you know, a very, very affordable card. I also really like the 2023 World Championship Pikachu card graded. I feel like that thing is still a little undervalued, and I could see it getting very expensive. All right, next question is from Mike's Cardboard. Is Prismatic Evolutions overrated? I keep waiting for the cards to crash due to the lack of product availability, horrible opening experience, crazy pack prices, etc. I feel like its card values stem from greed more than collectability. Will all this hurt its value long term, or are the evolutions just that powerful? So it is actually pretty crazy, and it almost never happens where we get all the evolutions in one set. We usually get like half of them, or like we get Flareon, Jolteon, Vaporeon, or something like that. You know, it almost never ever happens where we get them all. And you have to think, these cards are very, very tough to pull. They made the pull rate so tough. So that's definitely going to keep the value up a lot more. But I do think the set is a little bit overrated for sure. Especially because, you know, every other card that we got in here for special illustration rares, besides a few, were cards that we already got special illustration rares of. I don't know why they did that. And then, of course, the no illustration rares I feel like hurt this set. Like, if we would have got the illustration rares that were now the Chinese exclusive art rares, just imagine all those in this set. And this set would be absolutely insane. Like, literally the best set ever. No one could even say a word about it. You also have to think, too, this is the first ever God Packs for English, which is a crazy big deal because you could pull every single evolution in a pack. That will be chased for the next 10, 20, 30, 40 years probably. People will be chasing that because it is an insane pull to get every evolution in one pack. Like, you're talking $2,000 in one pack. So there's a lot going for Prismatic, but I definitely do not think Prismatic is perfect. And I do think it is a little overrated and a little expensive. I've been saying it forever. And the prices are actually getting pretty close to what I was saying. You know, I constantly kept saying Eevee should be a $70, $80 card. Jolteon, Flareon, Glaceon should be low 100s, you know, $100 to about 120. I feel like every evolution should be under $200. I've said that 50 times now. And as you can see, almost everyone is, besides Leafeon now at 240, Sylveon now getting really close to going below 300. And then, of course, Umbreon, I kept saying should be like a $5 to like $650 card. I feel like those are more the real prices and what they should be if we weren't in this massive Pokemon boom. So I could see them still dropping a little bit more for sure. So hopefully people will have a chance to pick up a lot of these. I still need every one of these in a special illustration rare for my special illustration rare collection. I got a couple of these cheaper ones. I got the Iron Hands, I got the Iron Valiant, and then I got the Tropicos and the Goldango and stuff. And I do have the Eevee that I've just gotten vending randomly and gotten them for good deals. But I'm trying to wait as long as I can. I do not buy a lot of ultra modern cards right away because I know I'm going to be here, next year and the year after that. I'm going to be here forever. So I have time to get this stuff because I know eventually a lot of the stuff will dip. So yeah, I definitely feel like it still is a little bit overrated, or at least overpriced. Maybe not overrated, because if you do compare it to all Pokemon sets, it does beat a lot of sets, but definitely a little bit overpriced. Next is from Matt. Add-ons are EB games and GameStop promos worth holding in the long run and investing in? I haven't seen anyone talk about this online. So I have a decent stack of GameStop promos. I usually just try to get the ones that are of more popular Pokemon, like the Suicune, Dragonite, Snorlax, stuff like that, Zapdos. If it's more of like a random Pokemon, like this Duraludon here for $5, I don't really, go out of my way to get those at all. But I already have now 3 of the Suicune GameStop ones, but also Suicune's like my favorite Pokemon, so I'm a little biased. So I probably got maybe like 100 different GameStop promos that I just sit on. But like the Snorlax one, that one's also super cool. So yeah, if you can find a bunch of them for a really, really good deal and they're of a super popular Pokemon, might be worth picking up. Especially a lot of them are kind of tough to grade and they're worth a decent amount in a PSA 10. Just know they don't sell super fast. I've tried to sell them before. They can take a while, but, even if you just sell one here and there, it's definitely worth it for sure. All right, next is from Edo Beats Everything. Hey, PokeBeard, Happy New Year. Thank you. I noticed on the Phantasmal Wigglytuff IR, there are some music notes in the art. Can you think of any other Pokemon cards that have music incorporated one way or another? Thanks. So, 2 came to mind right away. The Kricketune, one of the best scenes in all of Pokemon. So many different Pokemon here, but you can actually see they got music notes going up from Kricketune. That's a beautiful card, only $4. And the Chatot here from Temporal Forces. So it actually has music notes and the lines. And I want to say these are the notes for like the Pokemon theme or something. I cannot remember exactly, but super cool card. And it's only $9. So in my opinion, those are definitely some of the best too. All right, next is from Brian Jutrus. Hi, Beard. Love the content. It has helped me a ton with singles and sealed. Question. I've been buying into a ton of the Scarlet and Violet era sealed ETB promos over the last 6 months. My favorite one, I believe, that has the most potential is the Prismatic Eevee promo. I've picked up about 40 sealed and plan to keep buying them in the $8 to $11 range. What do you realistically think this will be worth in 5 years? I know historically sleeping Pokemon have done well, and scooping up a few PC promos of this might be a good idea too. So yeah, definitely pick up some PC promos. What I was kind of thinking was like every 10 regular promos I buy, I'm going to try to buy 1 PC promo of that same promo. So that way, I have a good amount of all of them. But yeah, I really enjoy that Eevee. That's definitely one of the main ones I've been watching. You cannot go wrong with Eevee. And I do think that's one of the best Eevee illustration rares we've gotten. I think it's almost better than Twilight Masquerade. I think it's cuter than Twilight Masquerade. But the Twilight Masquerade one, it has so many Eevees for all the evolutions. So that's pretty cool, which I think a lot more people are going to like that. But I could see that Eevee being minimum a $25 to $35 card. I could even see it being a $40 to $50 card one day, way down the road when the ETBs are very, very expensive. And if you don't think that's possible, just remember that regular Obsidian Flames Charmander promo is like a $30 promo already, and it's been, staying there for a long time. So it's definitely possible for this thing to get, even above that for sure. Next is from KB Sam. What makes a set worthy of investment? Fairly new to the game. So when I'm looking at sets, I like to look at all of the sets, and I know all the sets through Pokemon history. So that's why I don't like when newer people say like, oh, this set's just trash or it's not very good. I just want to always say, you don't even know what a bad set is. These new sets are absolutely amazing. You might not like all of the new Pokemon in the sets, but you can't deny that this is one of the best sets we've ever gotten, like Ascended Heroes. I mean, this set is absolutely crazy. It's definitely one of the craziest sets we've ever gotten. It's the biggest set we've ever gotten. I mean, it has so much art, like some of the most art we've ever gotten in Pokemon history, to where you might not like all of the cards or a couple arts, but you can't deny it's not one of the best sets ever. You honestly really just have to figure out maybe the top 3 or the top 5 sets and really focus in on them, because then you never know what's going to happen. Some sets might get a ton more reprints than others, to where maybe that 4 set is worth more than the second best set because that 4 set didn't get a lot of reprints. But as long as you're, focusing on the top few sets at least, you cannot go wrong. And since you're newer, it's just got to have basically some of the most popular Pokemon as their main cards. If you're looking at a set and the top 3, 4, 5 cards aren't of the most popular Pokemon, it's definitely not going to be one of the better investments. So like Destined Rivals, you got to think it has a Mewtwo, it has a Moltres, it has a Ho-Oh, very popular Pokemon, or Prismatic has all the evolutions. And then, like I said, it really just depends on reprints and stuff, which is one of the main reasons why I really focus on Pokemon Center ETBs and booster boxes. Now, what do those two things have in common? They're basically the two products that we cannot find in a Walmart or Target. You'll never see a Pokemon Center ETB at Walmart or Target. You're never going to see a booster box there. So that's why I really, really try to focus on those two, because, the majority of people are going to be getting their stuff from Walmart or Target. So that's definitely what you got to focus on too. All right, next question is from Papano. Was wondering if the market trends to crash right before a set comes out. It's obvious that some products and cards are overly hyped and follow no pattern, but there has to be some patterns we could pick up from this year of Pokemon. I'm not saying that it'll reflect what will happen next year, but I'm just curious. Thanks for the videos, per usual, thy beard. So a lot of times that I've noticed, and I've done the research and stuff, the sales for the last set do slow down the week or two before we get that newest set. So that's super common. It's going to happen a ton. That's why I always recommend just wait as long as you possibly can to buy these new cards. That's why I said I didn't even have any Prismatic Evolution SIRs really. I had some of the cheaper ones because I've just been waiting. I'll buy them next year. I'll buy them in 2027. I don't care. I'll wait as long as I have to get them. But it's really hard to figure out trends for this stuff and exactly when, because it really depends on the set and the cards. I know people like to act like it's, just like the stock market and there's a bull run and a bear run and it's the exact same thing, but it's not. There's some stuff that does follow that, of course, but the majority of time, cards matter, the sets matter, and I've proved it so many different times. A lot of the newer people, like the money bros and stuff, where they only care about money, you can tell because they also invest into One Piece and Lorcana and whatever they can invest into just to make money. But they constantly talk like it's just pure market trends and stuff. But like I said, it really, really matters what's in the set. So that's why I just always wait as long as I possibly can to buy a lot of these cards. I haven't bought a ton of special illustration rares, so I need a bunch of them. But I still feel like a bunch of them are still overpriced because the market is so crazy. So I'll wait till literally next year to buy them if I have to. Because like I mentioned earlier, I know I'm going to be here next year and the year after that and 5 years down the road and 10 years down the road. I'll be here forever. So I know I'll have plenty of time to get these cards. So yeah, it's just too tough to figure out an exact pattern. Next is from Matt K. Nice. Hey Beard, do you think we could see Destined Rivals sleeve booster packs over $20 in 5 to 10 years time? I live in the middle of nowhere and my Walmart stays stocked. I'm picking up 10 every grocery trip, laugh out loud. Yeah, I think they'll easily be $20, easily in 5 to 10 years. Probably more than that, to be honest. Next is from Daniel Chin. How do you store a lot of collection boxes, i.e. Blooming Waters, UPCs? Would stacking them damage the bottom ones in the long run? So definitely do not stack them super, super high. You can stack some of them, but you have to think about your surroundings. Do you have animals? Do you have kids? Are you going to have to move this stuff around? Because if you can stack them nicely to where you do not have to move them, then they're going to be fine. But most people will eventually have to move them, or they're going to add new stuff. You have no idea how many boxes and collection boxes and booster boxes that I have dented or dinged or put little holes in, just moving stuff around and, redoing my collection or making my display look cooler or whatever it is. So just be super, super careful. Honestly, I like to just get bubble wrap. You can get massive rolls of bubble wrap. Some people might say it's overkill, but if you kind of wrap it super neatly like a present, then they don't take up, that much more space and you don't have to worry about damaging them. But yeah, definitely don't stack them super high because odds are they'll eventually get tipped over. I kind of like to do my collection boxes, actually on their side, but it also depends on what you have. I got a bunch of shelves, so it makes it a lot easier for me to do that. All right, next question is from Pokefan. Hey Beard, need your sage wisdom. I have a full English Southern Islands collection in near mint and lightly played condition. What should I do with it? Hold or trade for a few modern chase cards? Some combination of Mega Charizard SIR, Charizard V, Altart, Paldean Zard SIR, Mewtwo, Beehole Pikachu, or Ethan's Ho-Oh. So I love Southern Islands. That's a set I always recommend people to collect when they first get into Vintage because it's not that difficult. And I honestly do feel like a lot of the cards are pretty undervalued for what it really is. But if you like these modern cards more, the most important thing is to collect what you like. And I think that new Mega Charizard SIR is basically the best Charizard card we've ever gotten. So if you do want to, sell the collection or trade it for a bunch of modern cards, you definitely can. Just know the odds of those modern cards going down in price are a lot higher than the Southern Islands collection going down in price. I can't really see that binder really ever dropping too much in price, but I could definitely see, the Mega Charizard SIR dropping a little bit more. I could see Mewtwo dropping more, the Pikachu dropping a hair more. Ethan's Ho-Oh I feel like is pretty well priced. So yeah, it just depends on what you like. Next is from @NES. Hey Mr. Beard, I'm looking at buying a sealed case of Evolving Skies booster box to hold long term. In your opinion, is this okay, or would it be better to buy cheaper Sword and Shield booster box cases with that money? Already own a case of Battle Style, Silver Tempest, and Chilling Reign, or would some Scarlet and Violet make more sense? Also, thank you for doing these type of videos. Market Monday and Falling Friday are my favorites to help keep track of the market. I appreciate you watching. Definitely check out my Throwback Thursdays if you guys want to learn more about some, mid-era cards or vintage cards and really expand your Pokemon knowledge, and also find really, really good deals that people are sleeping on. But back to the question. So, if you can afford an Evolving Skies booster box case, that's a grail. Like, no joke. There are so many people out there that would trade, a ton of their Sword and Shield boxes or Scarlet and Violet boxes just to get that. So, I would maybe get that and then just keep trying to lock in these pre-orders on the Pokemon Center website for when these new sets come out of the newer Scarlet and Violet booster boxes and Pokemon Center ETBs. Because then that way, you're guaranteed newer product of some of these newer sets for MSRP, and then you're also, getting your big Grail box. So that way it's kind of the best of both worlds. But there is one thing that I really like to think about when we're talking about expensive products. Is the $12,000 booster box case going to get to $24,000 faster than a bunch of Scarlet and Violet Air boxes going from like $200 to $400 or, $160 to like $320? You have to keep that in mind. But, it really depends on your situation, what you like. Because let's say you're a little bit more of a collector, having a sealed booster box case of Evolving Skies, like I mentioned before, that's a grail. But most people have, loose Scarlet and Violet Air booster boxes or, cases of a lot of this newer stuff, which you can find everywhere. You can go to any card show and you're going to find a case of any Scarlet and Violet Air booster boxes. Sword and Shield too, Lost Origin, Chilling Reign, a lot of that stuff is a lot more common than an Evolving Skies booster box case. But yeah, good luck and let me know down below what you end up getting. But alright, that was today's Pokemon What If Wednesday. If you guys like this content, please make sure you subscribe, hit that notification bell, leave a like and comment. Of course, if you guys want to support more, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. I just had a super viral reel, reached like 2 million views. A ton of celebrities are watching it and commenting. It's been super crazy. Definitely go check out the long form to that. It was my last vending video. I would really appreciate that. But alright, I want you guys to have a great day. And if you guys want to watch my last vending video, click this one right here. Otherwise, we'll see you next time.